I feel like I am living in two parallel universes. On the one hand, I have never seen so much confusion, chaos, and overwhelm in the language learning space, and learners who are genuinely not enjoying the process because they don't know what to do. That was already happening when I started teaching years ago, and it is so much worse now. And on the other hand, I have never seen so much happiness, peace, clarity, and progress among those who have figured it out. So what I want to share with you today is what they know that you may not, so that you can take the stress out of learning Spanish, learn it so much faster, and discover that it should not be complicated. It should be fun and it should be simple. But if you're new here, hola, te doy una gran bienvenida. Me llamo Erika. I'm a former Spanish medical interpreter turned Spanish teacher and language coach, now living and loving life abroad in Mexico. On this channel, you'll find videos with real talk Spanish learning strategies, as well as immersive Spanish content, conversations, stories, lessons, and behind the scenes of life here in Mexico. If any of that sounds interesting to you, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. And if you would prefer to not just listen to me today share these strategies, but want to actually experience this entire process yourself, then I invite you to sign up to my upcoming free open house week inside of my online Spanish language school, the Caminos Conversation Club. It's a full week of live immersive Spanish classes led by my incredible team, and I will be in many of these classes as well. And it's not just classes. You'll get all of the materials that you need to have a real Spanish conversation by the end of the week at your level. We'll have 3 different levels running simultaneously so that you can find your perfect fit and improve from where you're starting from. So use the link in the description to register or type in the link that has now appeared on your screen. I was blown away by how many of you registered during the first 24 hours of me announcing this. I'm so excited. But if you have not taken this opportunity yet, please don't miss it. We will be kicking things off on December 29th, and you'll actually get your materials a little bit before that. So don't delay, register now. And once you do, comment below open house so that I know that you grabbed your spot. All right, here is what you need to do to become fluent in Spanish in a way that feels good and simple. Prepare to have conversations in Spanish about real life topics that are relevant or interesting to you. Have those conversations in Spanish with real people. Do this regularly. Now, before I break this down, I want to discuss why this is so different from what most people are doing to learn Spanish and why they're so frustrated, because the emails come in daily. Most learners are not getting enough speaking practice with people. We are so bombarded with apps, self-study courses, and robots, and they all have their place. They are and can be fantastic resources. The issue is that many learners are now learning exclusively on their own with these tools, which are not giving them the feedback, the accountability, and the motivation needed to be consistent. Even though many of these learners are in a situation in which learning Spanish and being able to communicate with the people around them would dramatically improve the quality of their life. The way that they're going about it is almost sucking the motivation away from them rather than providing more. Learning exclusively on their own is not giving them the opportunity to use what they're learning and to experience the human contact, which is the reason why they're learning in the first place. And so when they go to communicate with real people, they just freeze and often resort to not even trying to use what they had learned. Many others are taking classes that mostly focus on answering their questions about grammar. So they become very knowledgeable about the language, but not conversational. Are you trying to learn about Spanish or are you trying to learn Spanish? Which one is it? Ask yourself that question, and you may discover a mismatch between where you're spending the bulk of your time and what your actual goals are. In addition, there's another group of learners who are having conversations, but they are winging it 100% of the time, having all of these conversations on the fly. Now, obviously, some of that is absolutely expected and necessary. We go about our lives and conversational opportunities come up and we should take them. But if that's all you do, it's going to be hard to improve. Let me explain why. It's hard to improve when there's no work on the back end to expand your vocabulary on certain topics, to input the language, to listen, to read, to improve your sentence structure, aka your grammar. And at the same time, those who are just winging it with all of their conversations are normally having these conversations with people who cannot or will not provide any corrections or feedback. This is the cycle that some learners get stuck in, and that's when they simply plateau forever. This is what happens to a lot of people who say, I thought that moving to Mexico, moving to Colombia, moving wherever would make me fluent. But I've been here for months or years and my Spanish is still broken. They're often stuck in that loop. And most learners are inconsistent with actually learning Spanish. They're very distracted. There are more and more people spending more time researching and investigating the newest tools, the shiny new objects, rather than doing the hard work that it takes to learn a language. This is honestly lazy. Because when you're doing that, you're searching for a magical solution that does not exist. It takes work. And the other thing about being inconsistent is that not only does it take you longer to learn, obviously because you're having less contact with the language, but it takes you longer to figure out if what you're doing is a mistake, because you're not even doing the wrong things consistently enough to realize that faster. Does that make sense? So this is why I'm going to repeat this for you. This is what you need to do. Prepare to have real life conversations. Why prepare for them? So that you get the most out of them. This gives you the best return on your time. If you value your time, then this is a great way to go about learning. If you learn some relevant vocabulary ahead of time and you practice some relevant grammar ahead of time, then your conversations will be so much more productive and your learning will be so much more effective. So this is what you should be doing during your self-study time, which is crucial and which is not to be undervalued. You must take the time to be an independent language learner, but what you do during that time matters. Prepare for situations that you're actually going to be in. Prepare for conversations that you're actually going to have. It gives your learning purpose and direction. It motivates you even when you're inputting, when you're listening and reading to even random things. The motivation is higher because you know, hey, I'm a person who regularly gets to use what I'm learning. And then speak Spanish with real people about these real life topics that are, again, either relevant or interesting to you. It takes a bit of bravery, and for many of us, it takes getting out of our comfort zone, but it's absolutely worth it. And you'll find that it's so much more enjoyable to learn this way. And finally, rinse and repeat. Do this regularly, not just once, twice. And know that you don't have to gather up the willpower or schedule this all out yourself. You really need community and routine, because when you have those things, that human accountability and those habits that you develop trump willpower any day. You're just used to doing the thing. You're used to speaking Spanish. You don't have to set lofty goals or plan out every single month of the new year. Make a long-term commitment to yourself, yes, because language learning takes time. But from there, focus on the small things. Focus on the upcoming conversation, the upcoming topic. If you do that and you're always looking just ahead at what's right around the corner, but you're consistent, you'll be shocked by what your Spanish will look like, will sound like, by the end of the upcoming year. So I urge you to sit down with a pen and a paper and figure out, who can I speak Spanish with? In person, online? How can I make sure that at least some of those conversations are with someone who can correct me? How can I go about preparing for some of those speaking sessions so that I make sure I get the most out of them? And where's my community that's going to walk this path with me and help me be consistent? These are your bases. These are the things that are guaranteed to help you learn the language because they give you the accountability, the motivation, the consistency that comes from real human interaction. And this strategy helps you cover the fundamentals of listening, reading, writing, and speaking naturally. The simplest activities are often the most effective. Think of the simplest activity like listening and reading something in Spanish, and your friend is reading the same thing. You take some notes on it, and then you get together and discuss it in Spanish, hopefully with with someone there to provide some corrections and feedback. So simple, and yet you've just covered the fundamentals: listening, reading, writing, speaking, and the subcategories of vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, especially if someone is there to provide the guidance that you need. This simple activity is infinitely more effective than spending hours playing with Duolingo and accumulating knowledge that you just don't use. How do I know? Because I've worked with over 1,000 students who have tried both ways, and the results speak for themselves. So this is the third time I'm going to summarize this, but I don't want you to leave the video without taking note. Prepare to have real life conversations. Have those conversations with real people. Do it regularly. If you want to experience what I'm talking about and you don't want to plan this out yourself, then register for the open house week inside of the Caminos Conversation Club. It's happening December 29th to January 4th. It's completely free, and you're going to be given the tools at your level to prepare, practice, and speak with real people, both fellow learners and friendly teachers who you'll absolutely love. And regardless of your current level, you're going to see a difference in your Spanish in that week's time. And if you do, and you'd like to continue learning with us for longer than a week, then of course, I will extend the invitation for you to do so. Register with the link below, and I can't wait to see you in class.
So a big thing for me, because I'm kind of a shy, nervous person, I feel like I'm way more confident now. I'm getting more comfortable with approaching the higher level speaking challenges. I don't feel like I'm pushed into the deep end and I will drown anymore.